Welcome back to Bad Things in History, where we're afraid we can't let you do that, Dave. The 1920s. Eventful. Deadly. As the end of the decade approached, the threat of ruin and death emerged from every direction. Our series examining the worst and least known events of this decade continues with some of the most messed up things that happened in 1928. Let's begin with death in Los Angeles. St. Francis Dam. Los Angeles, mostly due to its location, has always had problems acquiring water. At first, residents were able to depend on a nearby river, but the population of the city began exploding in the early 1900s, and soon the river alone was not enough. The Los Angeles Aqueduct was constructed in 1913 to help the growing city. It transported water from a nearby valley, which was enough to support the population of 300,000 people. However, by the late 1920s, the population of the city had nearly doubled. The growing metropolis needed a new and reliable water supply. The solution was to build a dam within the San Francisco Canyon. When rain finally filled the canyon, the newly constructed dam would hold it in place. Then the water could be released to city residents as needed. After construction was completed, water began filling the new reservoir on March 12, 1926. Although some areas of the dam had water seeping from them, engineers were not concerned. They claimed it was normal for a structure the size of the St. Francis Dam. Over the next several months, new cracks and new leaks formed around the dam. Engineers inspected the structure, but thought there was no reason to be worried about it. They were wrong. A little before midnight on March 12, 1928, the St. Francis Dam failed. None of those who witnessed the event survived, so nobody is sure exactly how it happened. What is known is that the reservoir behind the dam suddenly and violently released 12.4 billion gallons of water into the canyon below. A 120-foot tall wave moved through the canyon and into the valley below. It destroyed hydroelectric power generation facilities. Then the wave moved through several towns as well. Around 2 hours after emerging from behind the St. Francis Dam, the mass of water washed debris and victims into the Pacific Ocean. At least 437 people were killed. An investigation determined that the rocks beneath the dam had flaws which made them unsuitable for storing large amounts of water. Engineering practices were changed to prevent this from happening again. The St. Francis Dam was never rebuilt. The Pineapple Primary. During the 1920s, Chicago was an extremely violent place. Thanks to alcohol prohibition, bootlegging was big business. Al Capone's organization was responsible for most of the alcohol smuggling. Capone also had to pay elected officials to ensure his business could operate. William Hale Thompson was happy to help. He was a Republican and was first elected as mayor of Chicago in 1915. After becoming involved with several corruption scandals, William decided to not run for re-election in 1923. A Democrat, William E. Daver, won the election. He became mayor and, unlike his predecessor, began cracking down on illegal establishments that served alcohol. William Thompson decided he should again become mayor and ran for re-election in 1927. Thanks to donations from Al Capone, William won and again became mayor. He then used the city's resources to punish those that tried to fight crime in the previous administration. Charles S. Deneen was also a Republican. He was a former governor of Illinois and became a United States Senator in 1925. Charles was not willing to let William have control of the Republican Party. Although neither William nor Charles was running for office in 1928, members of their political coalition were up for re-election. The two rivals fought for control of the state. The public knew that William Thompson was corrupt. Charles Deneen, by contrast, was seen as slightly more honest. On March 26, 1928, someone threw a bomb into Charles Deneen's home. It damaged the front porch and broke windows all along the street. Charles had left for Washington, D.C. a few hours before. The assassins had missed their chance to kill him. The Republican primary election was held on April 10, 1928. In the months leading up to the election, there were 62 bombings in the city of Chicago. 2 politicians were also killed. Investigations under the William Thompson administration never found anyone to charge for these crimes. During World War I, hand grenades were sometimes referred to as pineapples. Thus, the Republican primary of 1928 became known as the Pineapple Primary. Despite William Thompson's attempts to intimidate voters and his political opponents, Charles Deneen's faction won their elections. By 1931, William Thompson's political career was over. West Plains Dance Hall Explosion. West Plains, Missouri was founded in 1832. The area has experienced its fair share of violent events. During the U.S. Civil War, the town was close to the border between the Union and the Confederacy. Because of its location, residents were subjected to constant guerrilla warfare. Before the end of the war, most West Plains would be destroyed. At one point, the Confederacy occupied the town. Residents were told that they had to leave or join the Confederacy. Over 90% of West Plains residents fled. After the war ended, people again began settling in the area. African Americans also lived in West Plains, Missouri, but in 1903 they were driven out of the town. Anonymous letters were sent which said that any African Americans who remained in the town would be killed. On April 13, 1928, around 60 people were gathered in Bond Dance Hall. It was on the second floor of a building in downtown West Plains. On the floor below the dance hall was a garage. During the day, the owner was usually repairing vehicles for those who lived in the area. Suddenly, a violent explosion occurred. The building that housed the garage and the dance hall was completely destroyed. A nearby courthouse was also damaged, and windows all along the street were shattered. 37 people were killed and 22 were badly injured. 20 of those killed were so damaged that nobody could identify the bodies. They were buried in a mass grave nearby. The cause for the explosion was never determined. One theory claimed that gasoline in the garage seeped through the building. A spark from someone lighting a cigarette might have triggered the explosion. Decades later, another theory emerged which claimed that a truck full of dynamite was parked in the garage. Snail in the Bottle. In most Western countries today, the legal concept of negligence is well understood. Those who fail to act under certain circumstances can be criminally or financially responsible. A case that began in Scotland is the foundation for this modern concept. On August 26, 1928, May Donahue took a train to Paisley, Scotland. She went to the Well Meadow Cafe and met a friend. The two women placed their orders. May asked for a Scotsman ice cream float. This special item was a mix of ginger beer and ice cream. The owner of the cafe came to the table to put the finishing touches on May's order. He poured ginger beer from a dark bottle onto the ice cream. Then he put the bottle on the table and went to help another patron. May began enjoying her ice cream float. May's friend picked up the bottle of ginger beer. Intending to drink the rest of the beverage, she poured the contents into a glass. As the bottom of the bottle emptied, May and her companion noticed something strange in the glass. There was a decomposed snail, which obviously came from the bottle. Upon seeing the snail, May immediately claimed to be ill. She complained of abdominal pains. Several days later, on August 29th, May went to see a doctor. On September 16th, she was admitted to the Glasgow Royal Infirmary. May was diagnosed with gastroenteritis and shock. She discovered that a man down the street from the cafe was the person who made the ginger beer. His name was David Stevenson. May hired a solicitor and instructed him to sue for damages. Scottish law wasn't clear about whether May was entitled to damages. Normally, if a transaction caused harm, it was dealt with as a matter of contract law. May didn't have a contract with David Stevenson. One of the judges in a lower court ruling gave the following opinion. I am unhesitatingly of the opinion that those who deal with the production of food or produce fluids for beverage purposes ought not to be heard to plead ignorance of the active danger which will be associated with their products, as a consequence of any imperfect observation of cleanliness at any stage in the course of the process of manufacture. Tainted food, when offered for sale, is, in my opinion, amongst the most subtly potent of dangerous goods, and to deal in or prepare such food is highly relevant to infer a duty. Justice did not move quickly in Scotland. The case moved between courts and received various and conflicting opinions. In late 1932, there was finally agreement among Scotland's courts. May Donoghue had a valid case and could proceed with her lawsuit. A hearing was scheduled for January 1933. Before the hearing could take place, David Stevenson died. He passed away on November 12, 1932. SS Vestris. In 1911, a shipbuilding company in Belfast, Ireland, built 3 cruise ships. These were sold to a shipping line. The SS Vestris was included in this delivery. SS Vestris embarked on her maiden voyage on September 9, 1912. It became part of a route that would take passengers from New York to River Plate, a river between Argentina and Uruguay. The ship then traveled from River Plate to Liverpool. After Liverpool, the vessel returned to New York and started the route over again. The Vestris wasn't always the safest ship. In September 1919, it was carrying 550 passengers. They were in the middle of the ocean and far away from help. A fire broke out in the coal bunkers. After fighting the fire for 4 days, the crew finally had to ask for help. Another ship escorted SS Vestris to St. Lucia. It took several days, but the fires were extinguished. The cruise ship returned to service and continued traveling its normal route for many years. On November 10, 1928, Vestris left New York. The ship was overloaded and was sitting too low in the water. It was also poorly balanced and tilted to one side. On November 11th, the ship ran into a heavy storm. The deck was flooded and 2 lifeboats were swept away. Then a big wave caused Vestris to lean steeply on its starboard side. Overnight, the crew kept fighting to save the ship, but by the morning of November 11th, it was taking on so much water that all hope was lost. The Vestris was off the coast of Norfolk, Virginia, when the order was given to abandon ship. The captain sent an SOS and gave the coordinates of his ship's location, but his navigation skills were not up to the task. He was off by at least 37 miles. Rescue ships were delayed by hours because of this mistake. Most of the passengers were put in the lifeboats, but mishaps and bad luck caused almost all of them to sink. Shortly thereafter, the SS Vestris joined its lifeboats at the bottom of the sea. Rescue ships did not arrive for at least 5 more hours. There were 326 people on board, including passengers and crew. Of those, 111 died. This includes 13 children. Every child on the Vestris died when the lifeboats sank. The worldwide press coverage caused problems for the company that owned Vestris. Passengers stopped booking trips with them, and soon thereafter, service to South America stopped. Whether it was poor planning, an unfortunate mistake, or political violence, thousands of innocent people met their end in 1928. Was it just the unpleasant and chaotic nature of reality that ended their lives, or was there something more nefarious at work? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, subscribe to our channel if you want to see the next episode in this series. If you want to make sure we keep making new content every week, then please consider donating to the cause of horrible history. We have a Patreon page if you would like to help that way. You can also make a one-time donation if you're afraid of commitment. It's okay. We understand. The links you need are in the video description. Thank you for watching Bad Things in History.